Hey guys, I recently scored a band 8 for my IELTS exam, so I thought I should share some tips and tricks on my recent success. Do keep in mind I'm not a perfect person because this was my second attempt. In my first attempt, I scored a band 6.5, and I don't sound like someone who would struggle in this English exam, but it's actually possible to do really bad in this exam, especially if you're overconfident and don't practice enough. So stick to the end of this video for more tips and tricks on how I made it for this exam. I took 2 months to prepare for this exam. After my first month, I registered for the exam so that I would start to face that pressure to work really hard. I would not recommend this for those who really struggle with their English because this is an exam that costs a lot of money. I went for this approach because I already had a previous experience with the IELTS exam. I already knew what to expect in this exam. Now, we all know that the IELTS exam consists of reading, listening, speaking, and writing. I really struggled with the listening and reading section in my first attempt. So in my second attempt, I knew what I had to work on. I worked really hard on just the reading and the listening section. In my first month, I just focused on these two areas. So while practicing for these two sections, I would read sample answers for the writing section because that's also very challenging. And while I would finish my practicing, I would just read some samples for the writing section, so that by the time I started writing in my second month, I already knew what I needed to work on and how I needed to approach this section. So reading and listening, these two were my main areas that I was focusing on. Now, why am I emphasizing reading and listening? This is because your score for writing and speaking is unpredictable. You never know how much you're actually going to get. But for the reading and listening section, these are the only two sections where you get solid marks just for getting the answers right. So make sure you absolutely do not miss out on the reading and listening section. Time management is another issue. I scored a 7 in my writing section, but I believe I would have done better if I had managed my time better for the writing section. This is also the same thing for the reading and listening section. You do need to master your reading speed and your listening capacity because you're not going to have a lot of time. And in the exam hall, the invigilators start to call out right 5 to 10 minutes before the end of each section, and that can cause you to panic. So when you're practicing at home, try to end your exam a few minutes before the end of each section so that you're ready to face that tension in the exam hall. For the speaking section, I really didn't struggle with this at all. However, I did watch sample videos on YouTube of candidates doing very well in their speaking section, and I would also talk to myself for hours from the topics in the question papers. And I noticed that I needed to work on my filler words. Filler words are expressions like so that's something I was able to work out within a few hours. So the speaking is probably was the easiest section for me. So that's it for today's videos. Do keep in mind, I used ChatGPT to teach myself how to improve myself in my IELTS exam. If you would like me to show you how to use ChatGPT, do let me know in the comments. And I plan to make more videos on each section, so please do be sure to subscribe to my channel so that you can stay up to date on the videos that I publish on the IELTS exam.